Now I'm giving the floor first to the Financial Supervision Commission with their keynote speech to learn more actually how they're helping out our ecosystem and working towards the development of Fintech.
Thank you very much, George. Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for the invitation. I really do believe that this is the beginning of a very important tradition in Bulgaria. I will start with a presentation and will point out the most important things we try as a regulator to point out and help the ecosystem and business, fintech business in Bulgaria as a new pillar coming from the finance and technology. You should be now seeing a presentation on your desktops. I would like to point out a few points. Let's start with the fintech regulations with the key themes of 2021. Go further with the FSC strategy for development, the second one now, and go further with the EU digital finance package and how are we interacting in this ecosystem, in the EU ecosystem, and further. I would like to start the presentation with the key themes and also point out the fact that we are now working with a background of the constantly offered innovative opportunities, which means that on the one hand we have to be not ignoring the risk they carry, but on the same side we have to take care as a regulator, finding a balance between promoting innovation and protecting consumers from the negative aspects and business disruptions. This is part of the speech of Mr. Petr Jelepov as member of the Financial Supervision Commission. And of course, I would like to note out the key themes of 2021-25 because we are now dealing with a new business model called Fintech. And it's not anymore 8038 when we were talking about the telegraph or the transatlantic cable, which means that we are now establishing, first of all, a strategic autonomy, which means that we have to face the disruptive international forces and strengthen a digital ecosystem. And the mantra in this regard means that we have to make open, strategic, let's say, communicative concept on the one hand, and on the second hand, here is the moment where the regulator has to intervene, because we're talking about a business model where the value proposition offers a lot. And it's something that it hasn't been seen before. In this regard, we will try, and we are trying to guarantee a level playing field, which means that this is very important, especially for the third countries in the EU, and it's very important to require, and it requires a high sensitivity in the creation of the regulatory framework. Moving forward, I would like to say that EU is strengthening the tailwinds in this regard, which means that the EU level supervision is planning the introduction of a single EU AML supervisor as the lead overseer, and on the other hand, which is a totally new concept, and on the other hand, the DORA Act, which we will talk a little bit later on. The competition and digital policy, I really do believe that these models will enhance and make possible that the economy will cooperate and will make, let's say, coordinated competition enforcement efforts that are promoting the EU digital ambitions that can be seen through the increasing linkage between the competition and digital legislation. Let's go back with the fact that the presentation of the new Commission of von der Leyen with the 6, let's say, priorities. The first one, of course, was the EU Green Deal, but the second one was trying to deal with the EU digital package. But where are we in the map? Where is Bulgaria in the map? And what are we trying to enhance in this regard? So far, we have launched 2 fintech strategies trying to support this ecosystem, starting from 2018-2020 and 2021-24, and in this regard we have seen that in the EU fintech policy approaches are consisting in sandbox regimes, innovation hubs, other approaches, and no sandbox, which is the majority. I would like to point out in this regard the innovation hub that the FSC is trying to let's say, enhance and present it even more in our society, because we really do believe that Bulgaria has a huge potential to make it and being a very innovative hub, also supporting the Sofia RegTech sandbox in our strategy. In this regard, I would like to point out 3 strategic goals which are very important. The first one is the financial literacy, for which I thank you very much, and it was very important to mention in few panels today, because of course we are talking not only about an innovative business model, but we are talking about a community-based model, as overseas point out very often. Of course, it's very important to point out also the dialogue within the framework of creating an ecosystem of connections within 2030. And at last but not least, it's the importance of development of cybersecurity. In this regard, I would like to present you the EU Digital Finance Package and point out what is so important in this regard and what are we trying to point out. I believe that as part of the 6 policy, let's say, priorities of the EU, it is point out that the building an EU-wide comprehensive framework, it is very important, because it will enable EU-wide interoperable identities in finance, which are very necessary, and also will promote open finance in business-to-business data sharing. Of course, the 4 policy options for the legislative intervention are most needed in this regard. This is why the very, let's say, the tipping point in this regard, maybe it's the continuation of legislative process in the Digital Operational Resilience Act, DORA, which on the one hand will harmonize internet and communication governance and risk management, but also on the other hand will establish continuous testing, which means that it will ensure against and monitor internet and communication technology third-party risk. I believe that this is the moment where we should focus on this bottom-up approach, because between the innovation and the, let's say, the fact that we're trying to deal with the future of finance, as Mr. Dombrovskis would say, that the future of finance is digital. So basically, between digital finance and the innovation, we have to find a very important moment of resilience, which means that the regulator is a must to participate in this model. This is why I believe that we are here together, and this conference is here because we are here in, let's say, together under responsibility, because we are building a new pillar which is very important and needed towards sustainable development. And this is maybe the most important role of the Financial Supervision Commission, offering financial stability in a long term. Thank you very much.